Good morning, and welcome to Universal Spirit Center. I'm Kevin Busey. I have the great joy of being the spiritual community leader of our center, and I welcome you this morning to a divine experience. We're so glad that you're with us. Happy 4th of July, happy Freedom Month, and to celebrate, we have these decorations that Lee bought, but you can't see them through the camera. So I'm showing them to you now. Lee went and got them. 4th of July celebration decorations. There we go. All right. So we have Georgia and Tim leading us in special music this morning. We're so glad, as I said, we're so glad that you're with us. We miss you. I miss our gatherings together, but I'm glad you're joining us now. I have some really good news for you. We have for you a joke this morning.
Join us. Sing. Yeah. Give it up for love every day. Give it up for love right now. Oh yeah, we're giving it up for love every day. Giving it up for love right now. Yeah. My heart is waking in truth. Love expands and we show some love 'cause this world demands it. Giving it up for love every day. Giving it up for love right now. Sing it, Tim. Giving it up for love every day. Yeah, Linda. Giving it up for love right now. Let's have some peace. Giving it up for peace every day. Yeah. Giving it up for peace right now, baby. Giving it up for peace every day. Giving it up for peace right now. Giving it up for joy every day. Yeah, yeah. Giving it up for joy right now. Let's have some joy. Giving it up for joy every day. Giving it up for joy right now. My heart is waking in truth. Love expands and we share some love 'cause this world demands it. Giving it up for love every day. Giving it up for love right now, baby. Giving it up for love every day. Giving it up for love right now. Giving it up. Yeah, thank you. Woo! Love that joke.
Love, love everybody. Love, love, love when it's hard to love. Love, our loving will change the world. Share, share, share everybody. Share, share. Share when it's hard to share. Share, our sharing will change the world. Sing, sing, sing all together. Sing, sing, sing when it's hard to sing. Sing, our singing will change the world. Care, care, care for each other. Care, care, care when it's hard to care. Care, our caring will change the world. home. Love, love, love everybody. Love, love, love when it's hard to love. Love, our loving will change the world. Our sharing will change the world. Our singing will change the world. Our caring will change the world. Our loving will change the world.
That was Tim, Linda, and Georgia. Thank you so much. Such a blessing to have such awesome music. So good morning again for those of you who tuned in. We are Universal Spirit Center, and on this 4th of July weekend, we welcome all of you. It's our first Sunday in July, so we acknowledge birthdays. So anyone who was born in July, we acknowledge you. You can acknowledge yourself right now. To name a few, Derek was born in July, Lee Carini, Jennifer Clark, Barb Maxfield. Those are the few that we know, but all of you that had birthdays in July or having birthdays in July, happy birthday. We're glad that you're born. We're glad you're part of our center. All right, and also I want to do a little shout out now to a very special group of people. They are our stewardship corps. And this group of people get together monthly and even between the times and review our financial situation so that we know not only where every penny is that you give us, but how it is spent. So we have pictures of those folks that we're going to show you, those awesome people. We have Annette Ridenauer, who was our treasurer, Dana Mosser, who oversees the Global Heart Ties. So if you would like to request money for an organization that is doing the work of love on our planet, she would be the person to send that to through our website. We have Brian Sanders, and we have Bob Waller, and also Lorraine Iverson frequently comes and joins our meetings as well. So a special shout out to these folks. These folks work really hard to make sure that Universal Spirit Center is a worthy place of your conscious giving. So really appreciate working with these folks. We always have fun and laughter during our meetings, so appreciate that. Also, I'm really excited to share with you this Wednesday night at 6:30, I'm beginning a book study. It's called White Fragility. There you see it up there on the screen. It's from 6:30 to 8. It starts this Wednesday, and it goes through the Wednesdays in July. It starts 6:30 to 8, as I said. Here's what's really great about this class. It's an opportunity for us to explore the experience of racism in a very safe and loving environment. So I invite all of you to come and join. It's through Zoom, so you'll get a Zoom link as you register through our website. And here's what's cool about the class. A couple things that's cool about this book study. The first is you can wear anything you want to this book study, right? We don't care if you show up in your pajamas or in your t-shirt or whatever. It's fine. Secondly, it's free. It's free. It's a free book study that we're offering you to address the experience of racism. And then the third thing is you don't have to travel anywhere. Just walk to wherever your computer is at home. So hope to see you 6:30 this Wednesday night. And finally, I want to share with you that our Stewardship Corps, which you just saw those folks, and our Wisdom Council, which is the governing body of our center, we're looking for other members to join us, people of color. And so if you feel inspired to join that crew you saw earlier, the Stewardship Corps or the Wisdom Council, please email Lee at leeuniversalspiritcenter.org, and we'll be in touch with you. All right, blessings. And now we have Brenda Edelman, who's going to share the rest of the announcements with you. Brenda.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you connecting. If you have any questions about what I mention, go to our website, universalspiritcenter.org, or contact Lee, who knows everything, Lee at universalspiritcenter.org. If you're here for the first time, head on over to universalspiritcenter.org and click on the contact link and put in your information, and we'll make sure to get you everything that's going on in the center. So, Awakening Wednesday is this Wednesday at 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. and I actually am your guest speaker. I'm going to be speaking on forgiveness in the time of uncertainty and chaos, which I'm sure we can all relate to. Boy, I just got a gust of wind here, so let me go look at my notes here. Okay, so we're going to be talking about forgiveness and why it's so important for your peace of mind despite everything that's happening right now. And it's just a kind of a taste of what will be happening later this month. Save the date, it's the last Tuesday in July. I'm going to be doing an experiential class that's free on forgiveness. And I have a proven process that will help you navigate these turbulent times. I started teaching about forgiveness back in 2005 because my father was shot and killed by my mother, and then he married her sister, my aunt. I've been teaching this. I am passionate about this, and I want to give what I know to you so that you can have peace as you navigate these times. And I'll also be doing a class in August. The other book study that is going on is My Grandmother's Hands. That's Mondays, July 13th through August 3rd from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. If you are looking to expand your awareness around racism, join Sarah, who is going to be, everyone will be reading it, discussing it, and coming together in an experience of wholeness for yourselves, and also exploring how healing ripples out and can affect everybody for the better. Okay, and then the Racial Equality Project is presenting Friday night at the movies starting 7/24 at 6:30 p.m. We will be showing 13th, and there'll be a discussion to follow on Zoom. And let's see, more information for that will be on the website. Also, did you know that we have a Zoom community room open that is that's available for everyone before the talk at 10 a.m. and also right after we finish. And also 7 o'clock every day of the week, we have a connection and meditation in Zoom for everybody who wants more connection during this time. Thank you so much. See you later.
Good morning, I'm Lydia Joy Ayers. I'm one of your many practitioners. Sorry, Brenda's a bit taller than me. Good morning, I'm Lydia Joy Ayers, one of your practitioners. I am also facilitating our committee to work on planning the physical reopening of our center after the lockdown. I just wanted to give you all a quick update. That committee is made up of myself, Donna Girardi, Lee Armentrout, Brian Sanders, and Annette Reidenauer. We've been meeting and reviewing all of the health department's recommendations for how to physically reopen our center. So we are working to create a plan for how we can begin having in-person gatherings again. We do want to let you know that it will likely be another month or two. We are expecting that we'll start reopening for in-person gatherings in September. This is because of the amount of work that we need to do to prepare the space so that it's safe for each of you. We did receive your survey results, and thank you to everyone who participated. What we heard a lot of in the survey was that you're concerned about making sure we're following all of the guidelines, and I want to reassure you that we are. We are keeping a close eye on all of the communication from the governor and the health department to make sure that we reopen in a way that is safe. There will be masks, there will be social distancing, and we are, again, working on that plan to make sure that we do it just right. And finally, as always, myself and the other practitioners are available if you need prayer. You can find our contact information at universalspiritcenter.org. Click the tab that says Spiritual Guidance, And there's a list of each of us and our contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia, and the team also that is working hard at our reopening. So, Rich Osigera, who's one of our beloved members of our congregation, his grandfather made his transition this last week, his mother's father, David. He made his transition due to COVID, and he was 91 years old, and he lived his whole life, 92 years old, and there he is there, and he lived his whole life in Fresno, California. And so we're going to be just, I invite you to place your hands over your heart. And we hold David and David's family, Rich and his family, in prayer. Taking a deep breath in right now. We hold his wife, Ethel, in prayer right now. His children and his many grandchildren. And right now, many of David's family members are joining us. And so we light the candle in his honor, knowing that his soul goes on forever, that he is surrounded right now in God's love, as is his wife Ethel, his children, his grandchildren. And so we know love surrounds him and surrounds all of our loved ones who have made their transition. So let's open right now on David's behalf. Let's open right now to the experience of love.
Love, sweet love, surround me now. Love, sweet love, come through. Love, sweet love, surround you now. Love is the only truth. Love is the only truth. Love, sweet love, surround you now. Love, sweet love, come through. Love, sweet love, surround you now. Love is the only truth. Love is the only truth.
And staying in that sweet space. Let us just take another breath. There'll be a reading, some time of silence, and a prayer for our time of going within. Dr. Holmes writes, "We are on the verge of a great spiritual awakening. the world is under of an old order and the travails of a new birth. And whether or not it remains suspended in a state of intermediate coma or passes immediately into the heaven of divine promise, this will depend entirely upon how many of its ancient corpses it is willing to lose. And it is as certain as the laws of nature are immutable, that someday the world will be reborn, resurrected into a consciousness of unity, cooperation, love, and collective security. In this time of awakening that comes from the deep stillness within, that place within each of us where spirit always resides, ever and always within us and holding us and uniting us. We pray and we know that all is a unity, that even in our forgetfulness as human beings, we know that in our perfection as spiritual beings, that we remember we are one and always one, and that the grace of Spirit flows through each and every one of us. In this gathering time this morning, in our daily lives, and in the activities all across the world, I know there is a great arising, a rekindling of love, a rekindling of the consciousness that brings us all together. And through the wonderful gifts of all the people that brought our service together this morning, the inspired words of Reverend Kevin, the inspiring music of all our musicians, for all our volunteers, and for the hearts of each one of you. We are one. We are love. We are loved. And this we know.
The rain is pouring down like all the souls you sent here, coming to this earth to find healing. Mother Earth takes in the rain like your heart takes in my voice. Let us free each other with this prayer, with our voice. And I'm coming home. And I'm coming home. Join me in Om Namo Gurudev Namo, the divine infinite within and without. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Oh, my beloved, kindness from the heart, breath of life, I bow to divine teachers, beloved
Thank you so much, Georgia and Linda and Tim. Thank you. Thank you for that. That was really beautiful. So I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath because I'm going to invite you to do that a lot during what I have to say to you this morning. So these three words keep running through my mind these last couple weeks. Three words: love one another. Love one another. And it's the directive of every spiritual tradition on the planet. That when you come down to it, really all that matters is love. So those of us on the spiritual path, the goal, right, is to find within ourselves all those things that block us from love. And uncover all those blocks, excuses, limitations. So that's what I'm going to be calling you to this month, is to take our focus from the external, from blame or judgment or defense, and shine the light of awareness within. To search within ourselves and get clear of all those things that block us from the experience of love. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to call you from wherever you are to a new way of thinking and a new way of being. I'm going to do that largely through the book, White Fragility, with Robin DiAngelo, who wrote that book. But I'm also doing an in-depth study this month of systemic racism, so I'm borrowing from all sorts of resources. So I'm going to just invite you. Stay engaged with me during this month. Stay engaged. So one of my favorite things to do is to ride my motorcycle. And I especially like to ride it after it's had a tune-up. You know, when the parts have been adjusted or oiled or fixed. Because all those parts, when they do what they're supposed to be doing, they work together to create a really smooth ride. And more so than in my car, when I get my car tuned up, I could really feel it on my motorcycle. Everything just flows and feels smooth, and it's just easy to ride. So all the parts matter. All the parts matter to make this machine run well and smooth. And if one part is stuck, or isn't working right, or is broken, then that affects the overall ride, right? And that's the same with any kind of machine. All the parts create a wholeness. Our nation's system is broken. The platform for which our country was founded, freedom for all, is not working. And it's because of white privilege. Now take a breath here. Wherever that lands on you, take a breath with that. White folks have created and maintained a system that is largely underground, that creates a reality for white privilege. Now we see symptoms of this dynamic when people are violent against black folks, be it in word or physically violent. And so we see that. We're seeing that more and more in our culture. But they are just symptoms to a systemic racism that most of us are not even aware of. Most of us white folks. And we're not aware of it because not being aware of it allows it to continue. But let me tell you, as I have done research, Johnny come lately to the scene, but as I've done research in that, I'm realizing it's a thing. Systemic racism, it's a thing. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about all month. And I hope I make you uncomfortable, and I hope you stay engaged. I will admit to you, I'm very uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable about reading about it, and I'm uncomfortable about talking about it. But I promise you, I'm staying engaged, and will creating for us a safe, loving environment so that we can explore this systemic racism, so we can explore it together. One of the things Robin DiAngelo in her book, White Fragility, mentions, and think about this, she says that race is a social construct, that there's nothing biological, there's not a biological component to race, that it's only the color of skin. But I got to tell you, as a kid, I got really different messages about that. So it might behoove us, if we feel this call to love one another, to look at our own upbringing and to think, where did I think race was something more than just a social construct? Whites killed Native Americans, tried to wipe them out so that we could have this country. Whites enslaved blacks for our own financial advancement. Racial laws keeping down people of color were in effect until the mid-1960s. Whites created a system to ensure white privilege. Whites decided who were white. White became the norm, and anyone of color was a deviant to the norm. Let's take a breath here, because I need to breathe. Stick with me here. Stick with me through this. So I was on Facebook a couple weeks ago, and someone posted something about Black Lives Matter. And there was a comment, and someone ridiculed a Black Lives Matter, and I can't even remember what the criticism was, but they made a criticism of it. So someone attacked the guy who made the criticism. And so the guy who made the criticism got immediately defensive and started proving his point why he wasn't a racist. Got really defensive. You could see it in the read in the comments. He said he's a professor of history. He knows, he understands. He even said, you could check with my black students and see if they would say that I'm racist. Totally defensive. His focus was out there. How dare someone call him a racist? And he's proving that he wasn't. So I'm looking at it and I'm like thinking, you know, this guy, as all of us, but this guy has a perfect opportunity to explore what's going on inside of him, as opposed to get defensive or angry or try to prove a point, you know, focus out there. Spiritual work, and not just in this area, but spiritual work is always about going within and saying, what is the dynamic that's happening within me that's making me defensive or making me angry or making me want to be violent in word or in thought? That's where we uncover the blocks to love. So I hope I kind of afflict you during this month. I hope I kind of agitate you so that you could pause and think, what's sourcing this agitation? What's making me so defensive? What maybe beliefs do I hold that keep me from that powerful directive? Love one another. So, I had said in earlier talks that I'd seen there was a sign in my neighborhood that says, white folks do something, after the murder of George Floyd. Here's exactly what we could do. Look and see where we get defensive, where we close down, where we get agitated through this time. Explore ourselves. So I have a neighbor who lives a couple blocks down, and she's a dog lover, has a dog. And so when I walk my dogs past her house, frequently she's out there, and frequently she'll give our dogs treats. And she's a very pleasant, friendly lady. And over the years, we've had many conversations about what we're working on in terms of our yard or our house or our dogs. So there's always something to talk about with her. So sometimes, and this happened the other morning, sometimes she fills me in on how neighbors are either crazy or nosy, or neighbors are this or neighbors are that. She's got a couple folks, and she's kind of scoped out that kind of the bad neighbors in the neighborhood. So sure enough, I come by the other morning, and she's talking about a particular neighbor and how this particular neighbor is mean and crazy. And she's talking about that. And as I walk away from her, I'm thinking, it's interesting. It almost was like she was getting some pleasure in talking down someone else. Because it made her, I'm projecting maybe, but it made her feel good about herself. How many times are we better at something than someone else? Maybe we end up first, or we're just better. There's something about us that feels better. It's called competition. We feel better about ourselves when others are put down. I think it's a trait in human nature. Our culture is built on competitiveness. And so if I'm better at something, it makes me feel better than you. So what about a group of people that we feel better than or smarter than? Like that other political party. We're just smarter than they are. Or fundamentalists in religion, fundamentalists. We know more than they do. Or what groups do we label as somehow less than? I don't know, they don't understand, they're clueless, they're kind of crazy. Because it makes us feel better about ourselves. I think it's clear that we have done this as a nation. We've done this with people of color. Men have done it with women. Straights have done it with non-straights. Maybe Christians have done it with non-Christians. Maybe New Thought folks have done it with Christians. I was sharing with some friends over the other night, and I was sharing that I was with a friend at Dog Park years ago, and he kind of threw the ball for one of my dogs to chase. And I look at him, and I'm like, you throw just like a girl. And as I said that, I'm looking off right next to him, and a woman catches my eye. And she wasn't judgmental or accusation. She just caught my eye. Not in any kind of judgment, but I'm like, wow. I just put her down. And all women down. I ask you to look at what groups you belong to and how you put individuals or groups down. It's part of our culture. It's the way we were raised. And it's the way we feel better about ourselves. And it holds white privilege in place. Some years ago, our center, I put together a men's retreat. It was the first one we had done. Women have done it in our center for many years. But about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, we did the first men's retreat. And I led it and announced it, and we got 18 signups, which was pretty great because there were 20 in this facility that we were using, 20 beds, and we got 18. So I was pretty thrilled about that. So I'm looking through the names of the 18 guys who had signed up for this retreat. And I noticed half the guys, 9 guys were straight, and 9 guys were gay. And I thought, how cool is that? 50-50. 50-50. And I was thinking, you know, this would be a great opportunity maybe for us to have some dialogue between straights and gays. You know, have some dialogue about what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a straight man? What kind of conditioning as a straight man have I received in culture? What does it mean to be a gay man? What does it mean to be a man who's gay? And then to just have dialogue in a safe environment, because spirituality, authentic spirituality, should always offer a safe environment for us to explore our prejudices. So I got really excited about this idea. So there was a guy who was helping me assist in the retreat. And so I go up to this guy, very excited about this idea. And I'm like, we should work in this dialogue between, throw out there, what does it mean to be straight? What does it mean to be gay? And have these 9 and 9 guys dialogue about it, right? I'm really excited. And he looks at me. He's a straight guy. He was straight. And he looks at me and he says, it's the same. There's no difference. And I pause. And this person who said this has known me for years. And I thought, he just took his straight experience and laid it right over my gay experience. He negated any struggle, any pain, any uniqueness that is part of my life. And I felt really unheard. And you know what I did? This is fairly early in my ministry. I let it go. Because I felt like what I had to offer didn't matter. I let it go. Now, what's interesting is on that retreat, the subject came up anyway. But it was a huge learning for me. That's what you and I do, you white folks that are out there. You and I do when we don't see color. We lay our white upbringing, our white experience, our white perspective, our white privilege, and lay it over black people or people of color, and we don't see their struggle, their pain, or their uniqueness. many years ago when I was my master's program for marriage, family, and child counseling. We had one class on racial, I don't even know what they called it, multicultural. I think it was multicultural class. And the idea, this was some years back, but the idea was don't see color. Everyone's the same. That's to make the huge assumption that all folks have the white folk experience, which A, is not true, and B, discounts that individual's struggle or pain or uniqueness. So I've talked about 4 ways in which we keep white privilege going. The first way is to be unaware of it, to act like it doesn't exist, because that's how it survives. The second is to move through our defensiveness and our anger and our excuses and our go-to lines and explore deeply within ourselves what's causing the agitation or the defensiveness. The third, as I talked about, look and see, explore the ways in which we use the disadvantaged experience of others to make ourselves feel better. Or look and see what groups do we feel better than, smarter than, less crazy than. And then the third way is to see where we take our white privilege and lay it over people. You know, there's this joke that I think is so telling. There's a guy who's stranded on a desert island. And after years, he's rescued from the desert island. And as he's rescued, the people come up to rescue him, to take him off this desert island. And they notice that there are two structures. Two structures, both with crosses on the front door. And they're like, what are those 2 buildings that are here? And he says, oh, I built them. He says, one is the church that I go to, and the other is the church that I don't go to. So I encourage you to join me this month in rolling up your sleeves and going within and getting really clear about how we participate, whether knowingly or unknowingly, in systemic racism. So I'm going to invite us. I'm going to invite us to do the work that is that we're being called to do, so that we could love one another. So let's take a deep breath. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And I'm going to read again this reading that Sherry Gannan so eloquently read. It's by Ernest Holmes. So I have to acknowledge Ernest Holmes wrote this in the 1920s. But it's like he wrote it for today. So take a deep breath in and open to these words. We are on the verge of a spiritual awakening The world is undergoing the death throes of an old order to give birth to a new one. And whether or not it remains suspended in a state of coma or passes immediately into the heaven of divine promise will depend entirely upon how many ancient corpses we are willing to release. So let's just breathe into this moment here now. And let us feel what our hearts know. That we're all connected to each other. That there's a wholeness, that there's a unity, and each one of us are simply parts of that wholeness. Each one of us are parts of that unity. And so we open now to the experience of love. We feel it opening within us as a lotus flower, as a mystical rose. Let's open right now to the experience of love.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, its only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, comes the rose.
Tim Alberger, gosh, thank you so much, Tim. That deserves a fist bump, buddy. Let's bring it in here. Come on, that deserves it right there. Right there. He covered his mouth when he did that. So, Tim, thank you so much, Tim. That was so beautiful. And Georgia singing harmony back there. So, conscious giving. Now's Sue Ellen Sorensen has written a letter for us. It's an opportunity for various folks to give a shout out. So let me read to you a letter that she wrote. She's there with her husband Jim right there. Dear friends of Universal Spirit Center, I am delighted to have this opportunity to let you know how much I appreciate you and the part you play in creating this wonderful, loving community. I am regularly blown away by the love and joy that flows from each and every one of you. My husband, Jim, and I are doing well. We recently had fun creating a unique 2-week celebration in honor of our 45 years of wedding anniversary. Our celebration began with music and Margarita Monday. Each of us picked 10 songs that were important of our time together, then we shared them with each other. Tuesday travel was next. We traveled all the way to Coronado for a hike on the beach. Next was Watch Party Wednesday. That evening, we watched a romantic movie. You get the idea, different activity for each day. We're doing our best to enjoy and savor life during this time of physical distancing. I came to Universal Spirit Center in June of 2014, exactly 6 years ago. In 2013, I declared myself a free spirit, meaning I went to a different place each Sunday for Sunday services as Spirit moved me. The Sunday I came to Universal Spirit Center changed all that. I knew right away I had found my new spiritual home. Except for when I'm traveling, I have never missed a Sunday. I love the casual, friendly atmosphere of Universal Spirit Center. I love the energy. Even when we are online, I can feel that love. I love the music, the message, the staff, the volunteers. I love our dedication to personal and global awakening. I love our commitment to making the world a better place. And I love that we come from love in all that we do. So why do I give to Universal Spirit Center? Simply put, I want to further our mission in the world. I want to support the place that supports and inspires me to live up to my highest potential. I want to do my part to ensure that Universal Spirit Center will continue to be a bright light in the world. In closing, I send you love, and I affirm that you are safe, healthy, and thriving until we meet again. Love, Sue Ellen. That's beautiful, Sue Ellen. Thank you. So I invite you to place your hands over your heart. Take a deep breath in. And ask that infinite nature, that infinite source in you, what is it that is yours to give out? How are you being called to support our spiritual center, to support a place of love and of safety and of awakening? So I invite you to repeat after me. I give out from love. I receive from love. I open to love. And I let it be. And so it is.
Sing along at home.
Tim Alberger, Linda Ely. Thank you, Linda. Georgia Winfrey, thank you very much. Brenda Edelman, thank you for the announcements. Lydia Joy, the announcement. Lydia Joy is the camera assistant person this morning, working behind the scenes. Gino is our behind the scenes person making all of this happen live. So thank you. Thank you, Sue Ellen, for such a beautiful, beautiful letter. Thank all of you for joining us this morning. We're so glad you joined us. Come back, and hope to see you Wednesday night for the book study, White Fragility. Blessings on all of you. Stay safe, and see you next week.
And the Rev Kev.
I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We are so blessed. We are so blessed.
Giving it up for love right now. Get it, Gino. Giving it up for love every day. Giving it up for love right now.
Right now, baby.
Giving it up for love every day. Give it up. Give it up for love right now. Give it up for love right now. Give it up for love every day. Giving it up for love right now. Give it. Giving it up for love every day. Give it. Giving it up for love right now. Love every day. Giving it up for love right now. Giving it up. Giving it up.
Giving it up.
Giving it up.
Giving it up.
Giving it up.
Oh, yeah.
Giving it up for love right now. Giving it up.
Right now.
Giving it up.
For love right now.
Giving it up.